What is good, YouTube? Before I get into this video, I just wanted to quickly say that if you enjoy talking about basketball, anything from high school to college to NBA, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. We even have a current college basketball player on this channel, so maybe in the future we can get into some in real life stuff, such as drills or training, stuff like that. And maybe he could even do a little series answering some of your guys' questions about maybe getting recruited or what it's like to play college basketball. So like I said, consider hitting that like and subscribe button, and let's get into this video. So today I wanted to talk about Kentucky basketball. Obviously Kentucky basketball is a program that we know as being a powerhouse, a team that, or a program that puts players into the NBA, and a team that everyone's going to pick to win the March Madness tournament because normally they have the most talent on their team, and it's a blue blood program, a program that's expected to be one of the contenders each year. Unfortunately, that isn't the case this year. The team has, when I'm recording this, a 5-10 record overall. They have managed to put together a respectable, 4-4 record in conference play. But overall, like I said, a really disappointing season, and a season I know Kentucky fans aren't happy with, and they want to see some changes, going forward for the rest of the year and heading into next year. So what has contributed to this subpar season for Kentucky? I think the biggest factor is that the players they brought in this year just weren't as good as they are expected to be. That's kind of saying a lot because they did have the number one recruiting class in the nation. They brought in players like Devin Askew, BJ Boston, Terrence Clark, Cameron Fletcher, Isaiah Jackson, and Lance Ware. Those were the freshmen, and none of those players have really lived up to what their rankings were in high school. I know Devin Askew has been kind of a problem at the point. BJ Boston at one point was getting booed by the Kentucky fans. Terrence Clark hasn't played in the last 5 to 6 games and is rumored to transfer. Cameron Fletcher hasn't played since the North Carolina game and his episode on the bench. Isaiah Jackson's been, kind of just average. And Lance Ware, I know, wasn't rated that highly. I think a 4-star recruit, I think in the 60s, somewhere in there. And he's kind of just been another player for the team. And then the transfers, upperclassmen that they expected to have, a big impact on the team, just haven't also been as good as they expected. Someone like Jacob Toppin, who was coming in, has been just kind of a role player for him, not, anything special. Davion Mintz, another player who's been starting here, but is just not, a top elite guard that you expect from a Calipari team. And then the big guy, Olivier Sarr, coming in from Wake Forest, was a third-team ACC player, expected to take another big leap for Kentucky, be their big guy, the guy that they lean on. Hopefully was supposed to be, a first or second-team SEC type guy, and he just hasn't lived up to those expectations. And so when you combine, the freshman class not being as good as advertised, and the transfers just not playing as good as advertised, it's going to make for, a tough season. And Kentucky's kind of finding that out now. Another thing contributing to lack of success for Kentucky is coaching. I know right now Kentucky fans are not happy with Calipari. They think he's getting exposed for what he is. He's a recruiter. He's not a coach. He hasn't been able to, manage players that well in their minutes. I know there's players that, fans think are playing way too much just because they were brought in and had a high ranking. There's guys that aren't getting enough playing time because they don't have the stars next to their name. And that whole thing's just kind of been a mess with personnel and how that's been handled. I know right now on, Instagram pages and stuff like that, Kentucky fans are just ready for the year to be over. They want to start over, get a fresh slate next year, and hope that Cal can put together a decent roster that doesn't need to be coached like the way this team does, because they just don't think Calipari's able to do that. And I think one other problem this year has been point guard play. Obviously, under Calipari teams, you get used to seeing an elite point guard out there. And this year, that was supposed to be Devin Askew, but he just hasn't lived up to, his 5-star ranking and what, fans and I'm guessing the coaching staff expected out of him. He's really struggled from the floor. I think he's shooting like 34% from the field, 20-something% from three. And I know Kentucky fans aren't happy with how he's running the offense. He dribbles the ball too much, doesn't have an ability to break down the defense and get into the paint. And so, when you're not creating for others and you're not shooting the ball well, what do you bring? And so hopefully next year, Kentucky can, bring in an elite point guard, someone of that John Wall, De'Aaron Fox, Tyler Ulis, role that can break down the defense, push the ball in transition, and either create for themselves or create for others. Because obviously, Askew hasn't been it, and there's no one else on the roster really that they can go to. So those are just kind of my quick thoughts on what's been wrong with Kentucky this year. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. What do you think the problem is, especially if you're a Kentucky fan and you've been kind of suffering through the season? Let me know what you think the biggest issues are. Do you think they're going to be corrected going forward? I know looking on like Instagram pages, Kentucky fans don't sound that optimistic about the future of the program under Calipari. So I'd love to hear what you guys have to say here on YouTube. Hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll talk to you guys later.